Oh, hello. There's my one thumbs up. Jordan James already here, JB14. Well, it's heartening. And tonight, unlike I have lost track of time. Was it yesterday? Unlike yesterday, I think, when I drank cognac from the bottle like an animal on the stream with Woolly Ram, which went on for 3 hours. It was supposed to be like maybe an hour tops. But we've got new rules now, Woolly Ram and I. We're just gonna give ourselves only 5 minutes to discuss whatever topic the next time he's on. 5 minutes each, which means that maybe we can keep the stream to maybe an hour and a half instead of 3, 4 hours, whatever it is that we do whenever we speak. And I am, yes, today drinking cognac from a proper glass like a human being. Forgive my unshaven status, but as you may know, I have been behind enemy lines deep into the Gamma hive. No, no, Ryan, I will never be Pope. I'm definitely not a pious enough man for that. But Emperor, however, the military force of the Catholics, I'll gladly accept that, which, I think I'll have to work my way up to Doge first. So, yes, as I was saying, you may or may not know that I have just come back from a 2-day mission under behind gamma lines deep into their nest of gammas. The high priestess is here. So those of you that doubted me, it was necessary to hello Todd, how are you doing? And I haven't forgotten about the book, dude. I thank you for the congratulations. Todd and I have been working on a project for a long time, and when I say Todd and I mean Todd's done all the grunt work. I have just directed from on high, as Kurgan overlords are bound to do. You did an outstanding bit of work, which I will try and make you all aware of very soon. I'll mention it in a stream. Actually, I'm wondering whether I should mention it first. Yeah, I don't know. I'll think about it, but I'll either mention it or show you once it's all done. But anyway, yes. So, unshaven, back from my mission, which lasted 2 whole days. I think it's still going for, I think, a couple of hours. So maybe later in the stream, if you guys want, I'll read out some of the gamma questions. Let me just, we're at 830 comments on it. So we have, Todd says that I'm a benevolent dictator. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. The AMA that asked me anything that Vox did on Reddit some time back apparently was only 600 and something. So I'm afraid that I have delivered a win to the Gammas against my friend Vox. I did not contact or let Vox know or discuss anything with him prior to my foray, shall we say. I have sent him an email a few minutes ago just to let him know that it happened and that I've done it, and just see what he says. But yeah, 800 and something comments and still going. Most of them about Vox and the same tired 3 or 4 things that they try and stick on. I must say it was relatively enjoyable. One thing that it was also tiring because I am real busy, and it was kind of like answering questions while I was trying to feed a kid or put one to bed or whatever. My wife was she went out with her friends for lunch, and she stayed out quite a few hours with all the kids, which I thought was kind of insane and brave, but she she wanted to do that, and so that also gave me some time to deal with that sort of thing. But the interesting thing that I found, the thing that most surprised me about the whole experience was that the Gamma in Chief, as he calls himself, Scorpio, he's the guy I did the live stream a couple of streams ago. I think it's 181. We had agreed certain rules, and he stuck to them religiously, unfailingly polite in his communications with me. Horse Mumbler, there he is. I don't know whether any gammas will come to the stream or not. I don't know if they're aware or if any of them follow me or whatever, but Horse Mumbler should be empowered to block people now and slash whatever. So I hope it's working. And if a gamma comes along, we can... recuperating from overexposure to gammas. Thanks you. Yes, Woolly Ram, as you can see, I'm now drinking like a human being with a glass, not as a harassed. Now, I have to admit, we did win. We did beat Vox in having more than 800 comments now and still going to his 609 or whatever. But it's a little bit unfair because I did have a gay stalker, a guy called Oso Maricon, which is a slang term for gay. He's literally, I think he's like 500 of the 800 comments. It's just, I was... But I did honestly try to answer every question. I don't know if I've missed it. I'll definitely miss a few now because I'm with you guys. But the guy with the bad wallpaper, yeah, I must say I didn't notice his wallpaper. I was busy worrying about the sound. But I dare say I converted a couple of them. I got some private messages. I'm not going to out the shall we say, the recovering gammas that found my my responses funny and sort of like, oh well, you're actually kind of cool and whatever. So overall, it was quite pleasant. The gamma in chief respected the rules that we put in place to the letter. In fact, to I must say, somewhat my surprise, it was established that they would ban anyone who broke the rules. And the rules were like, stick to dialectic, don't go after anyone's family, that sort of thing. And this silly cow, apparently it's a woman, she just outright accused me of being a grifter. I'm like, you dumbass, what am I grifting? I'm not selling anything. My channel's not monetized. I mention my books now and then. I don't consider that grift. And she hooked onto that and it's like, no, you're a grifter because you're selling books and you're on Patreon. And I was like, I've never been on Patreon. It's like, but you can still get paid by PayPal. So wait, on the assumption that somebody sends me money, which is bullshit, there's nothing of the sort. And I say, oh, but you took money to go and see Owen. Yeah, I didn't set that up. Somebody else offered. And I said, well, sure, I'll do it if it doesn't cost me anything. So they set that up. They did it. Where's the grift? So, but then she kept calling me a liar or whatever. And I said, listen, she's out of line. If you're going to make an accusation, at least have some modicum of a fact behind it. And they banned her. So right away, there was no questioning. She had a one warning and then she carried on and that was it. So I've got to respect that eScorpio guy to date, as far as our interaction has been concerned. He has been a man of his word, and I have to admit he religiously stuck to the agreement we made, unfailingly polite, very quick in his responses if I asked him a question, whatever, and really quite helpful in terms of helping me navigate how to set up Reddit stuff and whatever, because I've never been on Reddit. I joined just for this thing, and I didn't know how it worked and whatever, and I didn't want to learn, so he sent me an email with all the details and so on. Woolly Ram, that is exactly right. Woolly Ram says that some people get offended by someone else's getting money. Baffling. Yeah, I mean, there's a guy that keeps going on, one of them or several of them actually, saying like, oh, but, and including Titty Salad, which... I put like a sort of naked picture with myself. If you go to the Reddit, it's r/Gamma Secret Kings that you can see the whole thing there. But she was like, well, it's not a good look. He needs to have a better, Vox needs to have a better customer service, and there should be an unsubscribe button, and people are coming here to complain. I said, how many people? How many people have come here to complain about that they can't unsubscribe? It's too difficult. And I said, give me a number. Give me a ballpark figure. She sent me like 4 links with like 4 guys, and I think one of them was the same guy twice that was on here as well, saying, "Oh, I had to cancel my credit card." So that one guy went everywhere to say he had to cancel his credit card. That's one guy. Oh, we got the one down vote. What the? It's difficult to tell now whether that's the original one down vote, or whether that's one of the gammas that's still upset. Maybe the one that got banned. So Titi Salad, yeah, that's a cool name. I enjoyed her name, I gotta say. But she's not very smart. I mean, she carried on about like saying how Vox should operate his unauthorized TV, and it's not good customer service. And I said, listen, if you don't like it, don't use it. He's been pretty vociferous about that. Most of the people that subscribe to UATV are there also to support, not just for the content. So we don't really care about whether, how many people have complained about it. And from what I could make out, it was like 4 people over a period of what, 3-4 years. So, my comment to that was like, gamma's gonna gamma. You don't like that service, don't use it. It's not difficult. And then this guy again, like, wrote a wall of text. It was like, it was one of the last comments I did just before coming on here. In fact, if I can find it, I'll read it to you just because it amused me. What did he say? It's like this moronic. Oh yeah. So literally a wall of text, because the original question was about whether Owen was really swatted or whether like cops just turned up and Vox lied about it being a full-on SWAT. And I'm like, well, I don't care. I mean, if you look at it in context, some random person on the internet calls the authorities to your house, and maybe you call it swatted, maybe it wasn't a full-on SWAT team, it was just a couple of cops turning up or whatever it was. I don't know, I wasn't there. It's pretty disturbing. You could be forgiven for somebody maybe going into a bit of hyperbole and saying that. Maybe Vox took Owen at his word and repeated it, whatever. And they carried on saying, no, because then Vox tried to say it was a SWAT by technically according to the law, but that law was never passed, like really into the nitty-gritty, full-on gamma thing. They're like, man, I don't care. Even if that was sore, I don't care. I can't be bothered to check the specific law or investigate it. Big picture, someone called the law in one form or another on Big Bear, and that's a shitty action, larger than whether the exact quote of law is right or not. And none of the, neither the majority of the UATV users care about it either. And if you're so concerned about UATV or whatever, don't use it. Problem solved. His reply is literally a wall of text. Okay, there. The blue stuff, that's all him. I'm not even gonna bother to read all that. And again, my response to him, is it so difficult to not use the service of someone you apparently don't trust, despise, think is a liar, etc., etc.? And then I couldn't help myself. I told him, like, I have no problem at all with it. What is your damage? Do you always seek abusive relationships? Want to lie on a couch and tell me about it and see if I can help you get rid of this affliction? That's just typical gamma behavior. Although I have to say, for the most part, they were relatively well behaved. They asked some funny questions. They asked some questions that were not related to Vox or Owen or whatever. So it was quite interesting anyway. There's nothing to be scared of there in terms of who these people are. And so Ethan says they usually try to hit where they fear being attacked themselves. Yeah, indeed. I mean, there was, people asking me about, or they asked a couple of questions about how do I feel about women's suffrage and what do I mean by politically correct and what do I mean by terrorism? And I was like, well, what do you mean by terrorism? You're asking me a question related to political terrorism. One man's political terrorism is another man's freedom fighter, so they just can't, and but yeah, that was the thing. They were obviously trying, one guy, he was actually, there was really only like one guy, and his name is a whole bunch of lies or something like that, a whole lot of lies. That's his actual screen name. And he is a liar, a sophist, and was just trying to. He posted a picture of a still from a video of one of my friends like doing some training where I did something and he's falling and he's trying to hold on to me. So his head is kind of like by my nether regions, and he posted that, like trying to pretend it's some kind of homoerotic or whatever, saying, "Are you still friends with this man?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's my good friend." And you posting that, trying to pretend it's some homoerotic, doesn't faze me at all. I don't give a shit. And if you want to know, by the way, that was my second wife was filming. Knock yourself out with that little bit of information. And they all laughed and sort of like, "Oh well, left it there," sort of thing. But that there was really only that one guy who like kept just lying, just being a sophist about it. Most of the other ones were actually sort of relatively okay. But you're absolutely right that they attack where they fear to be attacked. They think they can shame me. I mean, these people have got no idea. Which reminds me of an old girlfriend, a Russian girlfriend, that I made a joke. I can't remember what it was. I said something like, well, I don't know. She said something. It was some sexy thing or some sexual thing. And as a joke, I sort of said, but no, I couldn't possibly. What would my conscience, think about that? And she just burst out laughing. And she said, "Oh, Giuseppe, your conscience, you got rid of long ago, so long ago. You don't even remember to have one." Yeah, that's fair. They have no idea. So, but yeah. And Horse Mumbler says, "It's interesting how much some people seem to care about what they supposedly don't care about." Yep, that's a full-on gamma trait right there. Have you learned anything of these gammas during your interactions? Well, yeah. To be fair, I have got a bit more information on Owen Benjamin, whose streams I don't watch anymore and haven't for a long time. But they put up. They asked me some questions. I generally sort of like, I don't know about that. If you got like some evidence, and they put up some clips. Now, some of the clips were edited, so it's hard to tell whether they're telling the truth or not. But some bits seem to be pretty genuine, and it looked to me a little bit like, I don't know, maybe it's a joke or whatever. But there's some things that Owen's been doing and saying that apparently are quite a little bit off the deep end. Let's put it that way. So there may be something to that. The whole Bertaria thing seems a bit weird, like people sending money. And there was one guy that, as the AMA was going, actually, I don't know if it was a man or a woman, I can't remember, but they posted in Owen Benjamin that they saw the stream that I did with that Scorpio guy, and that they recently got banned. Apparently Owen really did ban like 100 or 150 people for making fun of him because he bought store-bought firewood. And they were all saying, "Oh, you call yourself like a homesteader, but you have to buy the shrink-wrapped store firewood." And the memes on Owen Benjamin thing on that, they've been going on for days now. Okay, it's just relentless, which I actually found quite funny because, there's Owen posted a picture of himself in his truck with a bunch of like store-bought firewood, and they're just taking the piss of him, which is fair enough. It's funny. And apparently he's very thin-skinned on that topic, and banned a whole bunch of people just because they commented or they liked the comment or something like that. And this was one of these people, and she was like, "Well, he or she, I don't know, was like, well, I gave the guy $400 and I forget about the $400, but it's just like, what the hell, I've been supporting the guy for a long time, and it's just so, yeah, I don't know." There are certain indications that the bear thing might well be a cult to a certain extent. I mean, all the guys that like believe it's a flat Earth, to a certain extent, that is cultish and completely fucking retarded. Let me not skip that part. Captain Cutler, I think, is an awful lot of lies. Well, I don't know who that is, but yeah, he's a very unpleasant, little sneaky, total, full-on, flat-out liar, Gamma. So yeah, I'd say he was the only sort of real kind of unpleasant individual there. It's just, the usual sophistry and whatever, which when I'm answering 500 comments from people, I don't have the time to take him apart and like just expose him. But I did what I could in the time I had with him. So, and then I just kind of ignored his comments. Yeah, it's pointless. Hail Grinding Kirsta. Hello, Slanty Chauffeur Bear. I'm starting to think Slanty Chauffeur Bear is that gym guy that wanted to have multiple Colombian wives. Maybe not. I don't know. Oh, and Dan says, logos informs me that Captain Cutler / an awful lot of lies is obsessed with Owen. Any idea why they obsess about Vox and Owen? My primary belief on that, if I had to guess, because it is a little bit mysterious, and I did ask this in various ways, but I don't think I got a clean, straight answer. I think with respect to Owen, most of the guys in there seem to be disgruntled ex-Bears, people that have come short with Owen and whatever. Now, I know for a fact there's a couple of people that comment on my videos, and I won't mention names, but one guy in particular who's emailed me a couple of times, very cool guy. I like him quite a bit. We had like a little bit of a set to with discussing training with firearms and whatever, but you know, we both carried on pinging each other, and then I kind of understood where he was coming from. He understood where I'm coming from. He was like, yeah, okay, you're a cool guy. And he, long ago, probably very shortly after I stopped listening to Owen, made comments to the effect of like, yeah, Owen is just bullshitting. I can't deal with the flat earth stuff and the other things I tried to explain. And it's just like, yeah, he won't listen to any of that. And plus, he told me there's, at the time, where I think Owen was still in Gig Harbor at that point in time, he said, and you know, the guy just lies about stupid shit, like how far he is from people, and you know, the fact that he can shoot a firearm on his property and nobody will hear it, and that's not true because I actually know where the guy lives. Now, I don't know, I don't care. To me, those are details that are irrelevant to my life, but you know, I know there are a number of ex-Bears that have just left without being disgruntled, without going to become gammas or whatever, but it seems to me that most of the gammas and most of the, certainly almost all the ones in the Owen Benjamin Reddit seem to be disgruntled ex-Bears that have a problem with how Owen behaved or what he said or the fact he banned them or whatever. So that, I'd say, takes care of the vast majority. The ones that are pissed off with Vox, as best as I can tell, it seems to me that many of them have become, shall we call them Vox haters, because Vox started to have this sort of relationship with Owen. That's as far as I can tell. And then the UATV thing, you know, Owen had quite a large following, so that kicked off UATV, and quite a lot of the Bears became subscribers, and our subscribers are in fact operating in Social Galactic and so on. Razor Fist equally will bring a bunch of other people, so will Wrangler Star and so on. So I think it's almost by association with Owen. Most of the issues seem to be related to Vox having some business deals with Owen. There is also invariably the usual gamma hatred of anybody that, you know, Vox is a pretty controversial guy. He writes in a way that's pretty, you know, when I first came across his blog, I mentioned this to the gammas. They're like, when I first came across Vox's blog, I thought it was just some Westboro Baptist kind of retard. And I read 3 or 4 of his blog posts, and I soon realized, oh, no, my first impression was wrong. The guy actually knows what he's doing, and he writes in a way that sets people off because they make certain assumptions. And if you stay there and you only stay with your emotion and you get upset by the assumption instead of actually reading what he's telling you, what he's saying, then you're going to think he's some evil, arrogant kind of idiot. He's far from an idiot. And I mean, that you can see that just from the things he has achieved. And they're sort of saying, well, what's his point? And I'm saying, well, he's kind of fighting a culture war, as am I, as are a lot of people that, you know, don't want to put up with your bullshit. It was an interesting question, was like, well, what do you mean by non-PC culture? Are you only going to be happy when the whole world is using casual anti-gay words, you know, like fag? And I said, no, not just anti-gay slander. No, to every single person, to every single class, ethnicity, just like it was in the 80s, before the stupid term of politically correct ever appeared. you know. You'd call a tranny, you'd call a gay guy, you'd call a guy like me a dago or a wop or whatever. Who gives a shit? Just speak your mind. Don't self-censor or like, oh no, you can't say that because I don't give a shit. And the only comment back to that was like, oh, that's very high IQ. So there's an element, I think Vox pushes a lot of the triggers. One, with the IQ thing. Two, with the fact that he's successful. He makes his projects make money, whatever. Three, with the fact that, he probably doesn't have the best people skills and he doesn't really care about the details. And, it's like they see that as a scam. Because I know Vox, I know that a lot of that stuff is just he's busy, he's got a lot of things to do, and he's like, well, look, if you want to kind of get on board, you kind of know where I'm coming from, and you know that might fuck something up, but then on the things that he's focused on, he will deliver. Like if you look at the Archaven comics, they've gone from strength to strength. The goat skin stuff, like one guy complained, said, well, why do you think that's an achievement? I said, well, it is an achievement because he's producing goat skin things and whatever. Well, why can't he do it like I do it? And he sent me a link to like these Bibles that he does in goat skin apparently that sell for like half the price of the Castelia House books. And I'm like, yeah, but you're doing it through Amazon, so you're really doing jack shit. He's doing everything from top to bottom. So his costs are probably more because he's not as big as Amazon. He doesn't get the same purchasing power. And it's still a good thing. And hey, you don't have to buy those books if you don't want to. No one's forcing you to buy them. So what is your issue? So I hope that answers your question somewhat, Woolly Ram, as to why they obsess about Vox and Owen. They've got, and then there's some replies here. How do you even know what those trolls on your thumbnail are? I would have thought you're 3 decades too old to know what that is. Well, the beauty of search engines, my friend. And Dancer with Logo says, oh yeah, they're gammas. Yeah, that also answers the question. That's why they're obsessed. They've got nothing better to do, and some are scorned bears. Yeah. Relax, I'm helping how much I can. Blessing, I don't know what Ernesto Gonzalez says. Oh, is it Ernesto Gonzalez is Scorpio, I think. Is that right? David Perkins says they obsess over Vox because you won't disavow Owen, which is pretty sad. Yeah, that's actually a very good point. In my, I think you guys know by now that I don't give a flying crap who it is. I will speak my mind as honestly and truthfully as I can, as I know. Instinctively, I sort of liked Owen to begin with when I first met him. Well, when I first saw his video, I had no clue who he was, but he seemed pretty genuine and somewhat naive. Then he started to go on about the flat Earth and the moon being a lamp, and I sort of like, dude, I did videos to like correct him. Whatever, he knows of the videos, he's watched them, but he ignored them for whatever reason, and maybe he's gone further off the deep end than that. I don't know. I kind of stopped watching him a while back, but I don't have any particular allegiance to Owen, or like I said, if I consider a guy my friend or whatever, yeah, but within limits. I'm not gonna necessarily lie or make up shit or cover for some fucking crime or whatever, depending what it is, who it is, whatever. There's all lines that we all have to live with. But generally speaking, I think that telling the truth and being as honest as you can be is the easy route. I really can't be bothered to try and remember some bullshit that I said to somebody who and how I'm gonna. It's too much trouble. I don't really have anything to hide. My life is pretty. The bits that are out there are out there. The bits that are not out there are not out there. Whatever. So it is what it is. And Todd says, obsessive but funny. Yeah, some of them can be funny. Horse Mumbler says, silly story. My school basketball team was called Freedom Fighters. We nicknamed ourselves the Insurgents. Our worst loss was to a team with these two hulking giants we called the Twin Towers. That is funny. Carl Philip Gabler says, some of the haters are hard SGWs, the sort who think Professor Fulton Brown is racist somehow. Yeah, I picked up on that a little bit, although I must say they kept it relatively toned down. It's funny seeing the SJW ones work together with the ex-bear conservatives. Given the chance, they would destroy their comrades. But that's always the case with commies and leftists, they eat each other. It's kind of like a game of get eaten last. It's like Call of the Cthulhu. And Todd says it's like obsessing over an ex for years. Sad. On that point, I believe that Oso Maricon, the guy who made about 500 comments, I believe that right now, when that AMA ends, he's just going to stuff his face with tubs of stracciatella because he asked what was my favorite gelato. Crying, maybe taking cold showers, rereading my insults to him longingly, because he is a self-confessed homosexual, so I think he's going to have a hard time when the Kurgan has left the building. Yeah, happens. Ethan, is there a valid use for gammas tactically? While twisted and sad, their persistence is remarkable. Well, I think you've answered your own question there, Ethan. I personally don't ever want to work with gammas at any point. Vox is willing to work with them, but he compartmentalizes them, so to speak, so that they don't cause issues. And Zenos Dart, a man after my own heart, says cannon fodder. Yeah, to protect the sandbags. Just make sure that you can get them out into the open so that they can protect the sandbags. The Whitfield report. Owen has falsely accused people of pretty heinous stuff, and Owen is the gamma that Vox talks about. Okay. Dances with Logo says Owen has a lot of gamma tendencies. The thing I struggle with is, the gammas are not anybody I will take the word for. It would be unwise to do so. That said, if, let's say, half the stuff that they say about Owen is true, then yeah, absolutely, I would say Owen has some issues, definitely. Todd says, same here, wasn't fond of his blog at first. Now I like his strength and guts and courage in the war. Yeah, Vox is an acquired taste, your initial impact, but that's also a problem of the zeitgeist of the planet. It's a little bit like the fact that the zeitgeist of the planet is also Protestant. So when you first come across Catholic 3D thinking, or the Catholic concept of marriage, or the Catholic concept of Hail Mary, it's like, you're worshipping a demon, you're pagans. No, you fucking moron. Look at the history, read through it, and then you realize, oh, Protestantism has got no leg to stand on. Vox is a little bit like that. You first sort of have to take care to read it in more detail, and then you'll realize his actually makes a lot of sense. It's quite laughable that they think that, the Dread Ilk are Slavish. Oh, that was another thing they said. Oh, well, but on the Dread Ilk, like, who are they? And I said, well, that's for me to know and you not to know, because fuck you, I'm not giving you any information on my friends and whatever. And they're like, oh, well, but then you can't say, oh, the Dread Ilk are like, you can't refer to them as, you can ask any of the Dread Ilk. Well, if you know who they are, you know who they are. If you don't know who they are, you don't know who they are. That's not my issue. That's not my problem. And, the reality is that the Dread Ilk very often make fun of Vox, or, they've sent him like funny joke shit. I think he posted on his blog as well one where they put his little face on one of those elf dances things. It's hilarious, the Dread Ilk are like herding cats. There's like 3 guys and they have 15 opinions. They certainly don't all agree with the stuff or the people or the things that Vox says. Like, for example, Vox's comments on China sparked a whole like bunch of dreadel going, he's like pro-Chinese. And it's like, guys, just read what he's actually saying. Don't like put words in his mouth. But it's a very common human tendency. You've got an idea in your head, you read something that seems a little bit like what you think, and you just assume stuff. If you're a little bit more autistic, you actually read the words and you work it out step by step, and you realize that it's not what you thought. So Dancer says, not worth dedicating every day of your life to talk about. Indeed. There you go. Woolly Ram says, yeah, I can see how glossing over the details can trigger people. It's just an outgrowth of New Englander Puritanism. Is this just an outgrowth of New Englander Puritanism? Yeah, that's a very valid point. I never thought of it that way, but yeah, I think that's very true. And by the way, guys, the reason I read the comments quite often is because I've noticed, and again, forgive my technical ignorance, but I've noticed that on the stream on YouTube, when it's saved, when it goes up eventually, there doesn't seem to be the live feed going on. So I'm not sure how that works, or if maybe I'm doing something wrong or whatever. But so I think people that watch this afterwards don't have the benefit of seeing all the comments, possibly. Oh, eScorpio is here, and he says, no, that's not me. That was another Ernesto Gonzalez. I thought that was your name, but okay. Woolly Ram, someone somewhere is having fun making money in a way I don't approve. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I've come across that a lot in my life. There's one description that Vox says about Sigmas, which I laughed when I read it. And it goes, the Sigma is the guy who walks in to a party that he only knows one person there, and he walks in with like two really hot women, and everybody gets pissed off. The alphas get pissed off. The other guys want to emulate him. The women want to know him. They fight over him. And it is, it is like that. I've had a lot of experience with that. People that have like a lot more money, power, and whatever than I have. And the simple fact that I don't give a shit really upsets them. And it's like, I haven't done anything to them. I haven't been rude to them. Just the fact that I exist, like, really disturbs them. It's, yeah, it's a real thing, that. Zenos Dart says, every one of Vox's books is going to be many times what it costs to subscribers. Anyone who gets them is making an excellent investment, even if only for the money. That's, I would say that's probably true given the types of books he's doing. But again, their complaint was like, oh, he's just reprinting like, things that are out of copyright, so they're like free on the internet, and he's just charging people. Who cares? Did anybody force you to buy it? Oh, Horse Mumbler. I think that we have one of those people I told you about, that if you see them, just shoot on sight. I think they've just come in, or they made a comment. So if you don't remember who they are, let me know, and I'll let you know. Otherwise, lock and load and fire. No warning required. The Whitfield report, I guess, is a gamma, because he says, we don't obsess over Owen. He thinks we obsess over him because we call him out on his nonsense. That may be true of some of you. Horse Mumbler, he's no idiot, but he's a feeler, not a thinker. He admits his wife is the thinker of the pair. He's not capable of objective consistency, as the consequences and corollary to his reliance on feelings. It's part of Owen's nature and native personality. He can't help it. I'm inclined to disagree with you that you can't help it. That's because I've got like some 40 years plus of martial arts experience. And most human beings can help just about everything when there is a sufficiently painful alternative threat to their... just got a really interesting message from a very good friend of mine. Sent me a link to a YouTube video that says, looks like the WAPs are getting it on. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to look when I'm done with this. Yeah, people can help a lot. People say, I can't do that, it's too hard. You put a gun to your head and go like, oh, well, I'm going to pull the trigger in about 5 seconds if you don't. You know what? IQ points jump like 30 points right there. Ability jumps 30 points right there. In fact, I'll tell you a little story from one of my my friends that was in the Soviet military when it was still Soviet, and therefore pretty fucking harsh. And this guy was in the special forces. He got the death penalty 4 times for disrespecting officers and so on. They never took it out on him because of the stuff that he had done for the special ops. He had a file like this thick, and the officer of his regiment that was supposedly in charge of carrying out the executions, when these officers sentenced him to death, he basically went back to them and he said, this is what the guy has done for us. These are his friends. If you're going to have this guy executed, you do it. And he literally got the death penalty 4 times. Anyway, this guy was telling me about a friend of his that, a guy that he was doing the basic training with. Now, the basic training in the Soviet regime was if one guy couldn't do something, the whole platoon, the whole battalion, whatever, got punished. And this guy was just a skinny little guy, and he couldn't do the number of pull-ups that they needed to do, like 10 pull-ups. And so the whole battalion kept getting punished. One night, like 7 guys picked him out of his bed at midnight, threw him up on a fucking bar, and said, right, you're going to do 10 fucking pull-ups now. We're going to beat the shit out of you. And he did like 3, then fell down, and they beat the shit out of him and put him back up on the bar. And he did 3 or 4, and then he beat the shit out of him again. He says, by like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, he managed to do 10 pull-ups. Now, what the hell just happened there? He didn't gain any more muscle. He didn't suddenly develop more muscle fiber, right? So the survival instinct kicked in and regrouped all sorts of resources that you normally don't force yourself to do. Part of the training in Systema teaches you how to get access to those resources consciously. So, when you say that he can't help it, that's because nobody's bitch slapping him. That's what it is. Simon the Amputee, I think Owen got butthurt over your video refuting his views on the shape of the earth. Yeah, he did get butthurt because he made another one about it. And, well, tough, If you can't deal with the truth, that's your problem. Starshine311, I think you're on notice as well. So watch yourself here. Just because I was in the Gamma Hive doesn't mean that the rules here don't apply. Do Gamma behavior and you will be shot on sight. Ethan Xenostart says, Antifa also uses omegas, lambdas, obviously, or tricks the clueless protesters to acting on their behalf. Basic psyop tactics, that last one. Yeah, good point. Titty Salad says, your AMA was pretty fun. Will you be paying us lowly gammas a visit again in the future? I might check in from time to time, You still have to give me that little bouncy dance, and make the salad. But if you do that, I'm sure I'll be back. These guys David says, these guys who love to join clubs and then be in little online groups usually can't handle the basic social interactions. That's also true. Titty Salad says, I wouldn't worry about Oso. There are plenty of other idiots to make fun of. He'll survive. I think that's a little bit of a swipe, Titty Salad, almost implying I'm an idiot. He didn't really make fun of me. I think he came out short, really, in most of my replies, actually. A bit of love going on between the gammas in the chat. Carl Philip Gabler, tell gammas to join enemy organizations and never talk to you again. Human grenades. That's very funny. We have our lone Muslim. We still have to find out, Shaka, whether you're... I was going to do a stream with you at some point. See if we can convert you from your satanic religion to proper Christianity. My shield is disgust, says Owen isn't a gamma, not even a little bit. One problem he has is he's too trusting. I can see easily that David Weiss is a liar, but Owen trusts him and his flat earth app. Okay, that's your take. Owen is a bravo. Oh, there was an interesting comment actually by the gammas saying that that Vox changed the naming on the social sexual hierarchy from beta to bravo just because Owen didn't want to be called a beta. I have no idea if there's an ounce of truth in that or if just complete presupposition, but I personally found that quite funny. Ethan W says to Xenostart, you're right, I ought to brush up on psyop tactics. And Dancer says she's not saying that he's a gamma. Indeed, she's not. She said that he has some gamma tendencies. I am a little bit behind, so I'm just going to read your comments as best I can. Again, I'm just mentioning that I read the comments because I noticed that on the YouTube video when it's saved, you don't have the benefit of the live chat for some reason. Maybe I'm doing something wrong or I need to change some settings, but I don't know what to fix. Jordan James says stack up 3 gammas for every sandbag. Indeed, at least 3 gammas for every sandbag. That's their value ratio, I think. Movement Explore might get banned. I've only read the first line. Flat Earth versus Globe Earth is just another false binary to get people angry. Waze and many other Flat Earth leaders are small hats. Coincidence? No. Okay, no, definitely not banned. Yeah, Flat Earth is completely retarded. Anybody that believes that is a fucking moron and hasn't got the critical thinking skills of a gnat. David Perkins says, Owen getting baked on edibles and then blaming the fat Italian was pretty funny. Okay, I don't know what that means. Jean Dortal says, I don't think Owen is a gamma, he's just an emotional guy. That's not automatically the same thing. I would agree. My Shield is Disgust says the Earth is an actual globe. Maps don't work on any other shape. Indeed, not just that, but, you know, fucking seasons and everything else. Anybody that is still unconvinced, go and look at Professor Dave. He has got like a bunch of videos on it. Some of them are like 9 minutes long and says, you don't need any science, you don't need any maths for this to prove to you that the Earth is a globe. And he does that very well. I really like that guy, the way he takes this on. Movement Explorer says, I met Wise on a Skype call he had with my old landlord. He was a douche. I don't know who Wise is, but okay. And Xenostart says, read the CIA manual for psychological operations in guerrilla warfare. It describes the methods the subversives use, especially the militant ones. Frankly, I have met some so-called special ops when I was in Africa, American special ops. I have met CIA operatives. In fact, I don't think there's going to be any blowback on this, but my dad was approached to join them. And I am not impressed. You know, the whole Q thing, these people are stupid. Trust the plan. Oh, wait, these guys are fighting. David Perkins, no, idiot, the Earth is a ball. End of. What did he say? Well, my shield is this guy. A globe, ball, it's the same thing, isn't it? I don't think there's an argument there, guys. E-Scorpio says Owen is a total gamma, so is Ted, but that's a troll. I've learned enough about E-Scorpio to know that he enjoys trolling quite a bit. Would I classify Owen as a gamma? No, I wouldn't. I'd have to think about it, what he might be, but Vox is definitely not a gamma. I'm 100% sure of that. And My Shield is Disgust says David Wise is a liar who thinks people won't notice that South America is bigger than North America on his fake app. Okay. And Xenostart says, is that in Behold the Pale Horse? To Xenostart. I don't know. Titty Salad said, I'd rather be a gamma than a scammer. Well, I've had enough cognac that I find that quite funny. Gamma. You're a woman. Women are essentially, you know, let's put it this way. Men who are gammas are essentially behaving kind of like bitchy women. You're a woman, so it doesn't really count. You know, we won't hold it against you. Hello, Honda Bear. Sosen says, what up? Okay, Sosen, you're one of the people that when I reviewed the chat last time, you acted like a lot of a gamma. So behave yourself. Um, huh. Yeah, I did that live chat thing or top chat, but I couldn't see my own comments. Anyway, Movement Explorer says most flat earthers are former NASA squirters who converted to flat earth squirting. I don't know that. Let's see. For anyone who can't see all comments live on replay, check to see if you have live chat or top chat. Live equal all comments on display. Top equals you only see some. All right, I'll have a look. As you know, thanks, Horseman. But as you know, it's not really that I'm technologically retarded. It's I'm technologically lazy. I can't be bothered. I'm becoming like one of those old guys that says, "Yeah, get off my lawn." Um, Let's see. There's some guys talking amongst yourselves about Behold the Pale Horse, which I think I've read, or I've read part of it. I don't know if I've finished it. I read Michael Aquino's essay on PsyOps. I'll look at the CIA manual soon. Yeah, Behold the Pale Horse is Bill Cooper's book. My God, there's an influx of gammas, and so far they seem to be behaving. You see? The Kurgan can work miracles. Behaving gammas. Amazing. Shaka says, show us the link. To what? If you mean to the AMA, just go to Reddit and look at the Gamma Secret Kings. Thank you for wearing clothes for stream, Kurgan. I'm wondering if Sosen is one of the Dread Ilk. They always complain about the fact that I occasionally post pictures of myself almost naked, just to freak out the men and excite the women. And that's what I did it just for Titty Salad. She thought I would back out of it, but if you go to the Gamma Secret Kings, you'll see sexy pictures of yours truly. My Shield is Disgust says, Kurgan, I love your book on Mars. Do you think something is also going on with Venus, given possible recent discoveries of life signs and possible habitability 700 million years ago? Yeah, it's not something I've looked into, but yes, it is a theory that I've heard of. Funnily enough, I'm trying to remember the name of the book that I read it in. It was a weird book. It was a book that I read in my research for the face on Mars. So we're talking about 26 years ago. So forgive me if my memory is a little bit off. I think it was written by a guy called Adam something or other, who was a weird book because he described being taken on an alien spaceship and being shown a bunch of stuff and being told that these people used to be from Venus and whatever, which sounds like complete nuttery, like sounds completely crazy. But there were bits of that book that actually made sense and were analogous to some experiences I had. Now, you could say, if anybody that's read Velikovsky was a crazy guy who basically thought that Mars had bumped into Earth and that's what created the moon, and that's how flies came on Earth, because they originated on Mars. Absolutely fucking insane shit, right? But he also got a couple of random little things right, which, but that's like even a stuck clock gets the time right twice a day sort of thing. So I don't know which of these things it is, but and I haven't looked enough into Venus, but Venus certainly looks like a planet that may have had livable conditions where something, Mars definitely had livable conditions and definitely something happened, and I go into detail about that on the face on Mars. But I haven't looked at Venus, so possible. Given the history of the solar system, I would say certainly above a 0% chance, but what that is, I don't know. Xenostart says, is this guy Michael Ray Aquino the Set worshipper? and they're talking about the CIA PSYOPs manual. Ethan W. says, it is called From PSYOPs to Mind War. The guy was the founder of the Temple of Set and high-ranking military intelligence officer, which just goes to show that the deep state is indeed, deeply into the occult. And we know this from things like what they used to call old Catholic bishops, which are really wandering bishops, which are really essentially spies. A lot of CIA infiltration. If you look at the story of Lee Harvey Oswald, the guy called Jack something or other, which I think started the JPL, that's the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the convoluted relationships between CIA operatives, deep state, guys who founded bits of NASA, it's like they're so in bed together. It's weird. If you're into that sort of stuff, I think Peter Levanda and Joseph Farrell write books on that stuff that is really quite interesting. And LS16 says, until performance improves, the beatings shall continue. Good. Another immortal that understands our way of doing things. Looks like I finished my cognac, but this time I'm not drinking from the bottle behind enemy lines like an animal. I've got a glass, so I'm going to pour myself another, and you'll have the benefit of Tipsy Kurgan. Not quite there yet, but I may do after this bit. Someone posted a video on SG of some big riots in Naples from earlier today. Good. I trust the mafia will not put up with the COVID bullshit, and the mafia is very strong in Naples. I'll find out what that is in a bit. Horse Mumbler says, good point about the applied intelligence boost of a 45 to the face. I should say instead that it might take someone there forcing him through each logic chain for him to be able to get it. Yeah, you know what? In most cases, 3 slaps. 3 punches to the head, 3 slaps to the face is enough. I speak from personal experience because I have only one person, only one man took more than 3. And this was a South African policeman. They are notoriously, that's an Italian way of saying denser than the wood of my desk. And it's a pretty old oak thing here. Most people in martial arts class, when I told them, look, this is how you block, this is what you do, and they would, you'd get the occasional idiot who had been somewhere else, but this is how I do it when I come. I was like, you know what? The beauty of this dojo is you clean up your own blood if you spill it, and if you wake up, you carry on the fight. So you do whatever you like. I'm now going to punch you in the face. You can try and block it the way I explained to you, or your own way. Good luck. Bang! Well, I wasn't ready. Okay, get ready. You ready now? Bang! Okay, I think I'll do it your way. Okay. Same speed, no difference. Oh, that works. Yeah, see how that works? Usually 2 times. Really dense, thick guys, 3 times. South African cop, 5 times. 5 times. South African policeman. Shows you their mentality. However, he never showed up again. So, yeah. Doesn't even take a gun to the head. Just a couple of smacks. The Whitfield report says, just because Owen thinks I'm a gamma doesn't make it so. He's a moron. I'll allow that. Can't argue with that. Ethan says, Xenostar, he was an evil man, referring to the CIA guy, but his tactics seem still to be used in the ABC agencies. Yes, they're about 50 years behind. If you want to really understand proper PSYOPs, you really have to look at the Russian special forces. Those guys are way, way ahead of the Americans and have been for a long time. Which is why, by the way, America's collapsing now, because the infiltration of the commie stuff that Yuri Berzinov mentioned 30 years ago are now coming to fruition. Titi Salad says, LOL, where did you even come up with the bouncing? Come on, Titi. Think about it. Titi Salad, bouncy, bouncy, Come on, what's wrong with you? Sosen says, who was your favorite gamma besides Titi Salad? I'm not going to divulge the name because I actually got some private messages that were really quite endearing and quite friendly, and sort of said, thanks for doing this, and I appreciate what your sense of humor, your wit, and I have to rethink things. So I'm not going to out them, but there was a couple of them that were quite good. No one comes to mind, also because very often I didn't check the name. Also because 90% of them, I think, were your friend Oso Maricon. I think he's got a crush on me from the picture I posted for Titi. She just said I was effervescent, but Oso Maricon just, I think he was drooling with every comment he made. I don't know. And Sosen, I'm glad to see that you're behaving yourself. That's good. Xenostart says, yeah, I don't usually like reading overt evil writers, but the tactics might be worth knowing to be countered. Possibly, but I suggest you read Gori no Sho, which I think is far superior to Sun Tzu. Shaka Mambuto says, pretty sure Vox doesn't give that much of a shit about Owen. Well, I can't speak for Vox, so, but we need to make a good Catholic out of you, sir. Shaka Mambuto, I think your chats on previous live videos appear after a day or two. Yeah, they take ages to upload, apparently. I don't know why that is. Software stuff I don't understand or care to find out about. Horse Mumbler says the change of beta to Bravo was meant to reflect the working relationships between alphas and their top supporters, as opposed to the false alpha-beta binary POS pickup artists talk about. That actually makes a lot of sense, so that's probably the truth on it. Woolly Ram says, getting baked on edibles means he got high on Mary Jane infused cookies cake. Mary Jane, oh, that would be marijuana. I'm sorry, guys. When it comes to drugs, I am completely ignorant, right? I literally touched drugs twice in my life, pretty much. And that was because of a bad woman's influence. That's it. I've never touched that shit. Have no need for it, so I'm completely ignorant of the whole thing. So what you're saying is that Owen got fat on eating marijuana-laced cakes. Okay, I don't know that that's the case, but whatever. Carl Philip Gabler says, I think Owen believes anybody who says the mainstream is wrong is, if their arguments like flat earth are dumb, he doesn't have the mathematical ability to tell. Oh, right. So you're basically saying he just goes along with whoever says the mainstream is wrong. But the problem is you don't need mathematics to figure out that the earth is round. You really don't. Seriously, go and look at Professor Dave's videos. They're like 10 minutes. My Shield is Disgust says, who is the most beautiful woman in the world? I say Miranda Kerr. I've come to the conclusion that there's a certain level of personal... You know, the women that I considered... have you guys ever seen the... what is it? Hot Crazy Matrix? It's a brilliant little video done by a guy like 20, 30 years ago. But the Hot Crazy Matrix is brilliant. You should look at the original video. It's really funny. It's great. And unfortunately for myself, despite the fact that I'd seen that video quite a while ago, I have to go for the, you gotta be at least an 8 or a 9 for me. After 9, what people I don't believe in giving 10. I've never given a 10 when I was a judge in competitions for martial arts. I don't believe in it. Just 10 is perfection and doesn't exist. But I've certainly been with women that were 9.5, 9.8, 9.9, something like that in terms of looks. But what I've also noticed that once you get past the 9, that whether it's a 9.5, whether it's a 9.8, that is completely subjective. A different guy would disagree. And in fact, a different guy might even say, oh, she's only a 7, when your 9.8 could be somebody else's 8. But having said all that, Um, I don't think there is like one most beautiful woman in the world thing because of that. For me, once they hit the 9, they're interchangeable in terms of how beautiful they are to me personally. That's the approach I took, because one might have a better feature here, but a better feature there. Um, so I wouldn't say that there is one most beautiful woman in the world. I definitely had a very long crush on Madeline Stowe for many, many years. She's a bit old now, but very pretty woman. Andrew Cannon says, do you think Owen supports the flat earth sardonically? No. I think he actually supports it, truthfully. Instinctive Bear says, Owen loves to equate all Catholics with Novus Ordo and seems to work towards Chrislam. Yeah, I've heard that. Apparently he is going for Islamo-Christian values or whatever. I don't think that Owen is actually knowledgeable enough to know what a Novus Ordo is compared to an actual Catholic. To be fair, I did send him the little book Believe, but I don't believe he's much of a reader. And although it's only 98 pages and less than 2 hours to read through, I don't think he's read it. I think if he had read it, it would have shown in the stuff that he says about Catholics. So I don't think he has a clue, a random, even lonely clue about what Novus Ordo compared to Catholics are. And the whole Chrislam thing, it's fucking retarded. You might as well say Judeo-Christian. It's the same shit. There's no such thing. The Whitfield report keeps replying to somebody called Carl, which I don't see in the chat, so I don't know. Dancers with Logo says, Scorpio has potential. Well, that's high blessings there, Scorpio. You got a pass from me and a pass from the High Priestess. You might actually make it. Remember, one of the questions I was asked, is it possible for a Gamma to ever become an immortal? To which I replied, with God, all things are possible. And I can't remember who it was. It might have been Osmaricon. Says, I'm going to stitch this and print it and I put it on my wall. Scorpio says, the Beta to Bravo story was according to Owen. If he was lying about that, it really wouldn't surprise me. Okay, Scorpio, I don't know what you mean. Do you mean that Owen said that Vox changed it on his behalf, or do you mean the other story? Oh, Dances with Logo says, maybe that's my Scorpio/Bronze race bias, though. I hope Dances doesn't mind me telling you guys that she's a Scorpio, and Scorpio calls himself Scorpio, and he's, of course, a wetback, as is Dances. Could be a little bit of tribal stuff going on there, but we accept it. You're still the High Priestess. It's fine. Bob the Science Guy does the best demonstration and explanation of how we can easily determine the shape of the globe. Okay, I don't know Bob the Science Guy, so only bears will know what I'm referring to. No, I think I figured it out, but okay. Ethan says, still going on about the CIA guy, it's a tough read. In the end, it all comes from below. Yep, it does. And therefore, you don't need it because we've got better technology. We fight for the other side. Horse Mumbler says, each user has to make sure they have their own feed set to live chat instead of top chat. YouTube often defaults people to top. Okay, I need to look at that. Titty Salad says, oh, I was very excited. I'm a little bit behind, so I think she's talking about my my photograph that I put on for the AMA. And, I think it's very rude of her not to send me a little video of her bouncing up and down, but, whatever. I just accept it, stoically without complaining about it or anything. Sosen says it was really for us. Okay, that's funny. That's redeemed you a little bit from your yesterday's full-on Gamma. Also, definitely, I think likes me. He asked me, how far do you run? What's your best time? I was like, I don't know. I've never checked. He's like, oh, I thought with a body like that you were a runner for sure. You know, I think he's definitely squirting all over the place thinking about me. Sad but true. Simon the amputee, one of my... I toast your name, sir. I love your completely politically incorrect name. I mean, I suppose you could go one step further and say Simon the Cripple, but no. I actually like the fact that it's got etiquette and yet no self-pity. Beautiful. I love that name. And he says, I sometimes find it difficult to distinguish between gammas and those who are emotionally infantile. There's a lot of overlap in their behavior. Absolutely. I'll tell you another point where there's overlap, and that is with certain behaviors that sigmas exhibit, which I try to explain to the gammas quite a lot because they keep accusing Vox of being a gamma because he's relentless with people like John Scalzi or Jordan Peterson. What they don't understand is the difference between when a gamma goes after somebody and when a sigma goes after somebody. When a sigma goes after somebody, you could basically threaten them with death and they wouldn't fucking budge an inch. John Scalzi did something that crossed the line for Vox. And Jordan Peterson, I don't think it was him specifically, but it was his supporters that kept relentlessly harassing Vox about how Jordan Peterson was this great hero and that you should listen to him and blah, blah, blah. And Vox takes exception to that. Now, every sigma is different, so every one of us has got a different line. That you cross that line, fuck you. There's only two ways that that's going to end. When you die or when I die. That's it. You're not going to stop. And it's quite different from a gamma, because a gamma can be dissuaded from his relentless pursuit by something that threatens him in some way. A sigma, it's pretty much, do or die type of thing. But that can be confused by somebody who doesn't understand the things, can be confused as, oh, but that's gamma behavior. It looks like gamma behavior. It's maybe in some ways even similar, but it's definitely not. It's, yeah. The Whitfield report says, Kurgan, you're a gentleman and it's interesting talking to you in the GSKMA. Whitfield report, thank you for that comment. You've just gone on the list of favorite gammas. I have to say that E Scorpio was an absolute, kept to his word to the letter without veering even a little bit. In fact, I would say he was a man of his word. I would, a bit risky given that he calls himself Gamma in Chief. But I think E Scorpio is a man of his word. And I would be willing to bet a large amount of money on that. I think he's an honorable person. The fact that he calls himself a gamma, ironically, I get that. I don't know. He would be an interesting guy to have a drink with, and talk about life and just see where he's coming from. I have to say that. Horse Mumbler says, E Scorpio is not so much that Owen lied, as he's subjectively minded and so instinctively prone to tweaking things for rhetorical and comedic effect that it seems like a lie to people like us. Horse Mumbler, I have to take exception there. Let me put it this way. If you run over my dog because you're drunk, or if you run over my dog because you didn't check your tires and they're completely bald and one blows and you run over my dog. If you run over my dog because you were changing the radio channel. If you run over my dog because you wanted to run over my dog. What fucking difference does it make to me? You've run over my dog. I'm pretty much going to beat you within an inch of your life unless there is an overwhelmingly obvious reason why it wasn't your fault. And I was busy changing the channel. I didn't check my tires for the last 12 months. I was drunk. I was arguing with somebody in the car, so I wasn't paying attention. None of those are good enough excuses. If you show me that, hey, your tire's in perfect condition, you ran over a nail that blew your tire and you ran over my dog, okay, that's not your fault. Can't do anything about that. So, the fact of well, he's an instinctive thinker. Well, guess what? 15 minutes in a room with me and you become a dialectic thinker very quickly. So no, I don't excuse your, oh, but I have a special condition. No, I've got Asperger's, so what? Doesn't excuse me doing shitty things. The Whitfield report, I'm gonna tell Apex you're cheating. Okay, I don't know who Apex is, but obviously there's a little bit of gamma infighting going on. I wish they could do it in a ring. Horse Mumbler says he believes what he says, so even though it's often wrong, it's often not deliberate deception. How do you know that? Horse Mumbler, I'm sorry, but again, by Catholic rules of law, doesn't apply. The fact that you believe that there's a demon inside the child and you have to rape it out of its body doesn't mean that you get a pass. You get hung for raping the child. I don't care why you did it. I don't care what you truly believed. And if you're talking absolute fucking nonsense because you're too emotional to think straight, that's on you. It's not on us. We don't have to care about your emotions, your instinctive things, or whatever the fuck. Hey Kurgan, how'd it go with the Secret Kings? Well, that's what this whole stream is about, Mirkwood, so maybe you came in late. Let me just see, because I think it's still going for an hour or two. Let me just have a quick look to see how many unanswered questions I have there now. Oh, hopefully they're sort of dying down because I've asked, look, I've done 2 days of this. I'm kind of had enough. I've got to do a stream, so. Yeah, that gamma guy. No, there's just one other gamma comment. Nothing important. What's your view on human origins? Do you believe in out of Africa, or is it a lie? Do you believe in historical Adam and Eve? Very interesting questions. No, I don't believe in out of Africa. I am pretty much an ancient Austronocean type of guy. And the Adam and Eve story, I believe, if I really had to bet my life on it, that the most likely explanation for the Adam and Eve story is actually an ancient astronaut type of thing. That said, I don't see that there is necessarily any specific how do you say schism. That there isn't any specific contradiction between the Old Testament being true, the ancient astronaut theory being true, and the overall arching God of the universe being what the Catholic Church says he is. Sounds a little bit confusing. You probably have to go all the way to 4D thinking instead of 3D thinking to sort of appreciate that. I hope that's answering your question. Horse Mumbler says that's a really, really generous interpretation. Well, Titi Salad and I agree. And I hope that means that she now owes me the bouncy video. The Whitfield report says, and I'm not cheating on Apex. Oh, how dare you. I don't know who Apex is. I don't know who Whitfield report is. I don't know what you gammas are obsessing about over my obviously hot body, I guess. I don't know. RAB says, I used to like Jay Dyer's content, but now he annoys me. He often challenges Catholics to debate and then claims victory when those Catholics don't accept because of how he behaves during debates. RAB, I think my debate with him was, the video seems to have disappeared off the internet. I don't know if because of the Ralph retort or because of Jay Dyer, but the after debate report is on my blog. So if you go to my blog, gfilotto.com, and just search Jay Dyer, it'll come up. It's really long, and it takes him to fucking pieces. And then you understand why he's a liar, he's a moron, and probably a bit of an Omegasburg as well. Horse Mumbler says there was truth in what Owen said about the Beta Bravo thing, but it was poorly remembered, highly subjective and personally focused truth. Okay, I don't know what he said, so I can't comment. Instinctive Bear says, I lived in Naples for 4 months. You have my condolences. Got pickpocketed once in Camorra Bakery. Again, my condolences. Most shops on the street were really friendly except that one. No, you just thought they were friendly. You poor, poor naive person. And I'm glad that you don't live there anymore. North Africa is no place for an instinctive bear to live. No, that wasn't a misspeaking. I said what I said. Titi Salad said, yeah, it's funny how this highly subjective and personally focused truth always puts him in the best light. Curious that. Again, I have to agree with Titi Salad, and it's not just because of the titties and the salad. She hasn't bounced her titties, and she hasn't made me a salad. So, an objective fact. Wally Ram says, if we're talking evil agencies, where do you place the Mossad in their reputation? Is their reputation deserved? I would put the Mossad as absolutely one of the highest evil. The reputation is deserved in that I believe they're very effective, but they are absolutely operating for the synagogue of Satan. Very effectively, I have to say. That doesn't mean necessarily that the individual operative doing a specific thing is necessarily himself completely demonically controlled and evil. Soldiers can be quite naive, ignorant, and tools, essentially. But overall, the Mossad is a very nefarious organization. Horse Mumbler says, Titty Salad, generous, yes, but informed and justified by my multiple years of in-depth study of how different mindsets naturally and instinctively operate. Look up ENFP to understand a bit more. Yeah, Horse Mumbler, no. I know you're my mod, and this doesn't change that, but Titty Salad is correct. Or more correct, let's say that way. Sosan says, also had me glued to the AMA today. Well, sounds like you would be the person holding a camera. HG Guda says, had some great times in Napoli and was able to take a nice trip to Rome too. Great times. Zenostart says, yeah, Kurgan, I'm due for another read of Mushashi. Want to get myself through the catechism first. Good, good. Sosan says that he constantly cracks you up. Really, Titty? Like also Maricon constantly cracks you up. I barely cracked a smile on most of his comments. I mean, you gotta do better. Shaka Mambutu says, by the way, do you know South African slang? Yes, most of it. And Titty Salad recognizes that Horse Mumbler is talking about the Myers-Briggs. Okay, Myers-Briggs is useful, but yeah, you know. To be fair, Horse Mumbler says, Titty Salad, I see you're familiar. Myers-Briggs is an outdated and flawed system, but easily accessible to the uninformed. Are you versed in cognitive function theory? Ew, Horse Mumbler, you're still straying in my area of expertise there, so I still think that overall Titty Salad is way ahead. East Scorpio says, Hispanic thinks every woman is the most beautiful. That's why there are so many of us. That's very true to a certain extent. You know, what's that song? If you can't be with the one you love, love the one you're with. You know, you can find something pretty about almost any woman. And a few people in the chat agree with that. RAB says, Jennifer Connelly in her 20s was really gorgeous. I'm not sure I know who that is. Who's the lady that played? Oh yeah, she's my current. You know that list of 5 people that you're allowed to do according to your spouse. If they're not that works. My wife's a Scorpio. She's a little bit jealous. Is it Emily Blunt, the one that did Day After Tomorrow with Tom Cruise? And I generally hate Tom Cruise, but he was alright in that film. She's very hot. I like her a lot. Sosan says you should send a super chat if you wanted Owen to read the book. Okay, that's quite funny. Titty Salad says, Horse Mumbler, nope, I can just tell when someone is full of shit. Again, I think Titty Salad has got like 4 to 1, Horse Mumbler. She's right in this one. And I promise you, it's got nothing to do with her titties or her salad. I haven't seen either. And for all I know, Titty Salad is a really fat Texan. I'm still, there's a 30% chance that's the case. So And Dancer says, how dare you? That's, I think, to Scorpio's comments about every woman is beautiful to us. That's funny. Woolly Ram, I've not read up much on Mossad. Dancing Israelis is about as far as I went. Well, there you go. The dancing Israelis were kind of effective, weren't they? Also asked like 300 questions. Yeah, I think it was more like 500 probably, but yeah, you're in the right ballpark. Shaka Mambuto says sigmas and gammas have different points of origin. Yes, they do. Well, or at least a different attitude to it, put it that way. Shaka says, got to go, but be right back. Okay. Solson says, not exactly, Shaka. I'm a sigma gamma. No, from what I've seen, you're a gamma gamma. Horse Mumbler says, cognitive function theory, which is not Myers-Briggs, explains the mechanisms by which different people are full of shit in different ways. Owen's full of shit because he's FI 2nd, TI 7th. Whatever. Titty Salad has cut through all the bullshit like Alexander with the Gordian knot. And I agree with him. You know that whole thing, there's like a meme where there's like a curve about IQ, and it's like over here, the 70 IQ that says, the Bible says what it says, and God is real. And it's like, he's like a retard. Then there's like the midwits that are saying, well, actually, the atheist, blah, 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 blah. And then you go to the 160 IQ, and there's like a monk in a cowl saying, the Bible says what it says, and God is real. Kind of true. Kind of true. It's the midwits that are the problem. You know, that the really smart guys and the retards, actual retards, no issues. They're good. Simon the Amputee says, what's there to feel pity about? Since losing my legs, I've become a repellent to people that complain. It's great. Gammas, take a minute. And actually, Simon the Amputee, if you want to, ping me an email. I'd like to do a little stream on what happened to you, how you lost your legs, if that's cool, if you want to do it. Because that is the attitude of a man. That is the attitude that I would hope to have should I lose my legs. You know, losing your legs pretty bad. I mean, as long as I get to keep my dick, that'd be fine. You know, if I lose that would be. You know, there was a film I can't remember where like these like snake things like bite you or whatever, and this guy gets a snake thing that goes up his fucking leg, and he gets his dick in his mouth, and he puts a gun to his head, and he goes, "If it bites my dick off, I'm just going to shoot myself." And it does, and he does. It's like I can't remember, it was some weird horror movie, but like I kind of relate. Why would you want to live without a dick? But yeah, Simon, if you want, drop me an email and we'll set something up. Merg Magalmarki says, hail the Kurgan. Thank you. Titty Salad says, so I should waste my time waxing poetic about why someone is a piece of shit. You do you, but I'm going to continue avoiding them. Again, can't fault Titty Salad's logic, although she admitted to being an atheist, so she will probably burn in hell, but you know, there's hope yet. Fuzzy Bear says, if you let your dog play in the street, his death is on you, not the driver. Where, Fuzzy Bear, did I fucking say that my dog was in the street? I mentioned somebody not paying attention, changing the radio, having a tire blowout. It was pretty clear and implied that my dog is on the sidewalk. Don't assume shit, especially here. It's not going to go to your... Miller twice says, oh, so is Milo. No, he isn't. I've met Milo. And Horse Mumbler says, Titty Salad, no, I'm just offering perspective on exactly how and why he's full of shit, because I find the different ways in which people can get things wrong technically interesting. Fair enough, that's your hobby, but Gordian knot, Alexander. And he goes on to say, I see you're not interested, so I'll say no more of it. You see that? There's again, a man who understands, hey, fine, you don't care about my perspective or whatever, that's cool. Gaijing TV says, Eve listened to the serpent. Is that woman's god? What? That sounds dumb. And Titty Salad says, fair enough, agree to disagree. You see? Quite reasonable, that. Simon Deputy says, Kurgan, beware. I've just received an insider tip that Titty Salad is actually a 400-pound dude. I'm not surprised if that's the case. I've said it from the beginning. It would be nice to think that she's a pretty lady, but it's probably a fat Texan. Horse Mumbler, I get the same feeling about Owen, which is why I quit listening, not wasting my time. Yep, David Perkins that was. LS16, Simon, that would make a very bouncy video indeed. Titty Salad, I think you can only redeem yourself with a little video of you bouncing up and down now. Whether you're a fat man or a pretty woman, it's either way, I think that's duty bound on, you know. Pest Gamma says, have I stumbled upon a lovely gamma hive or died and gone to heaven? No, there is a temporary gamma hive here, but Pest, just so you know, behave yourself because Host Mumbler's got the 50 loaded and ready to shoot to any gamma behavior. And Horse Mumbler says, Titty Salad, not actually because I don't disagree with you, it's just that I'm interested in overly technical explanations and you're not. There you go. You see, now, Horse Mumbler doesn't strike me as a gamma because he let go of it, but he's precise. He may be slightly autistic, which actually I appreciate being slightly autistic myself. I like the precision, the clarity, it's good. Dancer with Logo says, Titty Salad is a man. Change my mind. Oh, the women have begun to fight. This is going to be interesting. Can we add some mud and a pool? Maybe some jelly? Bikinis? Titty Salad said, I'll do a bouncy salad video when you and Teddy record yourselves watching Salo with commentary included. Deal? Probably no deal, because Vox is a very busy guy, and I'm really pretty sure he doesn't want to do anything that a gamma suggested. But I appreciate the offer, but come on, you know, I think you owe us one. Dancers with Logo says, confirmed man. There, I got to go with D-Lo on this one. The High Priestess has got it right. Sosen says, Kurgan, Horse Mumbler is trying to get that salad bounce before you do. Nah. Horse Mumbler says, Titty Salad, I agree with you completely. I too avoid people who are full of shit in general, Owen in particular. I just have a technical interest in the different types of shit people can be full of. Sosen, although a gamma's gamma, might be right. I don't know. Xenostart says, midwits can't be made smarter, but with enough brain damage, they can be made dumber. This way they will be happy and faithful. I love this guy. Xenostart, seriously, once I'm a little bit more settled down and you know, we find a way past the COVID bullshit, I seriously hope you come train, man. I would actually enjoy teaching you martial arts for a week, just the, you know, the principles, so that you can then go on and do other things. The Whitfield report says I'm actually crippled as well. Yeah, I don't know that being a gamma is counts, but yeah, tell us about it. You know, let's find out. What's your cripple? Simon says, I'd love to do stream. I'll be emailing you soon. Perfect. Excellent. I love that. We're going to have a stream with Simon the Amputee. That's going to be an awesome video. David Lawrenson says, despite all the good you have done, do you still believe you'll end up in purgatory? Dude, you haven't got a clue how much shit I did before I became a Catholic. I would be fucking happy if I only spent a few years in purgatory, because I think it's probably going to be like millennia. According to Catholic belief, there's some that are going to be in purgatory right up till the last fucking minute. And I'm just praying that I'm not one of those fuckers. Wooly Ram says that humility is an excellent cure for midwittery. Yes, unfortunately, midwittery is almost like, what do you call it when something is repellent to the very thing. Being a midwit is a repellent to humility in most cases. Humility, sorry. Starting to slur my speech. Told you I'd get tipsy by the end of this. Horse Mumbler says, excellently put, Kurgan. Titi and I are agreeing on the existence of God and the fullness of shit. The difference is that she can do it by instinct and I rely on complex logical theories. In my estimation, instinct beats complex logical theories every single fucking time. And if somebody's trained on top of it and maybe has a talent for it, you really don't stand a chance. Woolly Ram says he's speaking from personal experience, being a midwit that has had to do humility. And that, by the way, Woolly, is why I believe you'd probably make a very good monk. I am rooting for you to actually become a full-on monk. I'm not kidding. I really hope that happens soon. Fuzzy Bear says, well, yeah, if the car jumps the sidewalk and you and your dog, that's assault with a deadly weapon, so an armed response is entirely appropriate. No, again, Fuzzy, you're a fucking moron. I'm just walking along with my dog, car jumps the thing, whacks my dog, kills my dog. You don't need to shoot the guy. Maybe his tire blew out. Maybe his fucking brakes failed, whatever. Mirkwood says, I'm sorry, Titty Salad, but I want to puke every time I think of your name. See, I think Mirkwood has led a sheltered life. Horse Mumbler says, anyway, I'm done. I just wanted to offer the overtly technical details in case someone happened to be interested. Horse Mumbler, let me just give you a piece of advice for the future. Almost no one on earth will be interested in the detailed shit that you give a fuck about. And I speak from personal experience. Xenostart says, your midwit to Woolly Ram, your midwittery solution is wise. Humility is important. Mine isn't, but it is practical because I'm not in your caste. Yeah, it's probably, Xenostart, I would say we're probably in the same caste. Kurgan, I would be honored. I have several reasons to visit the UK now. Well, I might not be in the UK for too much longer. I don't know. We'll see. But we'll be in touch. Titty Salad says, what are your opinions on Lilith, Adam's first wife? Well, Titty Salad, that is a very interesting thing. I believe, and I speak under correction because I'm not particularly knowledgeable on the subject. But I believe that the whole idea of Lilith is actually what Owen would call a Grabbler legend or story. I think it comes from the Hebrew sort of idea. And I am not, the thing that I'm not sure about is whether the whole Lilith thing was stated by the Jews before Jesus Christ, or whether it was stated by the Pharisees after Jesus Christ. If it was stated by the Pharisees after Jesus Christ, then I would give that idea a lot less weight, and I would consider it some kind of subversion intentionally infiltrated in by the Pharisees. But I don't know the origin of it actually. So if you can enlighten me on that, I'll give you a bit more of my thoughts on it. David Perkins says, I don't know my IQ, but I found listening to people who know more shit makes stuff easier. Okay, that is a very, yeah, doesn't matter what your IQ is, that's a very... Titty Salad says, also, I'm not a man, I'm intersex. Titty Salad, you're going to have to explain that to me because I'm not familiar with the gender freak shit. You're either a male, a female, or a hermaphrodite, or possibly a chimera, but it's one of those four. So just explain to us whether your titties are real or plastic and whether they bounce when you jump up and down. That's really all we want to know. She's an intersex man confirmed. David Perkins, there you go. I still don't know what an intersex man is. That like a tranny? Is that it? Didymos 1984 says, just got here and I already feel like AJ in that Sopranos where he learned about Tony's secret family that lives in Elizabeth, New Jersey, but also learns Tony doesn't love them as much as his first family. That's... I think that wins comment of the stream for tonight. Dances with Logos says that titty salad is a micro dick. Well, we've descended into degeneracy now, but that's fine. I've come from the wars with the gammas. I needed a drink, and that's fine. The debauchery is okay for today. Didymus says, and now I have to leave to pick up my daughter from a birthday party. Well, happy birthday to your daughter, and please do not let her look at this rest of the stream. That would be wrong. That's what the logo says. That's what intersex means. A tranny. So why don't you just say tranny? You know, that's what I hate about this politically correct shit. Just stop changing words, you know. Dances with Logos. Xenostart says, I'm dying here. He's laughing. Miller twice says, gammas, gammas crushes. I don't know. Titi Salis says, don't police my gender, please. Well, I'm afraid that you're on the Kurgan stream. You're going to get policed, probably strip searched just to make sure what sex we have to label you as, and possibly tattooed. Miller twice says, gammas defeated Kurgan in the AMA. Just my opinion. Miller twice, I have multiple comments from multiple people telling me otherwise. So you're just one opinion. Saving Soul Ministry says, Jesus saves. Hallelujah. Catholicism represents the antithesis of what our Lord and Savior Jesus taught. Repent for remissions of all sins, brother, and you will receive the Holy Spirit. The Horse Mumbler. I believe your 50 is loaded. Saving Soul Ministries does not need any warning. Just test that 50 of yours. Let's find out if it works. Saving Soul Ministries. Horse Mumbler, that's your target. Shoot. The Whitfield Report. To answer your question about my cripple cerebral palsy. Oh, you have my condolences, Whitfield Report. That's a hard one. I've come across that before. You have my sympathies. Yeah, I know that I don't believe there's a cure yet, but I think there are certain things you can do. I believe diet and not being stressed help. So I don't know. Pest Gamma says true or false. Whoa. Pest Gamma, not Past Gamma. Pest Gamma says true or false. Must be nice. I'm just saying it with the Owen voice. I don't know. I don't understand the question. David Lawrenson says, if Wooly Ram becomes a monk, does that mean we'll have no giant Judeo-Christian babies? There is no such thing as Judeo-Christian. He is desirous to be Catholic and as yet unbaptized. He is actually a person that I believe falls under the definition of baptism by desire. So he is a Christian. He's a Catholic. He's not a Judeo-Christian. I too am torn between the idea of woolly monk having giant babies and being a proper hardcore monk. But he's got that kind of like Rasputin look, but you know, like good Rasputin. So I kind of think that he may well become a proper monk. Woolly Ram says, do Kurgas naturally migrate south in the winter? Definitely. We hate the cold. We'll put up with it if we have to, you know, for a crusade or something. Saving Soul Ministries, venerating Mother Mary, the Eucharist, praying on a rosary, calling Amanda's Earth Father and asking, okay. Horse Mumbler, I haven't seen you fire that shot. Okay, you've removed him. Good, because on this software, his comments remain, but on the YouTube, they disappear. Good, well done. Thank you. Thank you for that 50 caliber shot. Well done. My Shield is discussed as Lilith is what the Apostle Paul called a Jewish fable. Same with young earth creationism. Okay. Does anybody know the actual origins? Dances with Logos says, Horse Mumbler, please ban the heretic. I should actually make Dances with Logos a mod as well, although she's very bloodthirsty and unforgiving, so I think she might cut people down a bit faster than I tell her to. So I don't know. We'll have to think on that. As you know, the female of the species is always more vicious than the male. My shield is disgust says, that said, I had my heart broken once by a girl named Lilith, so maybe there's something to it. Well, we always have a few that hurt us down the line, don't we? And Dances with Logos playing spotter, like telling a horse mumbler who the offending heretic is. Joseph Aquinas, you must tell me, are you the same guy that we had an exchange on your blog and then I emailed or something? What do you think of the supposed Hall of Records under the Sphinx? I believe it's probably true to one extent or another because there was a Hall of Records found by a guy called John Anthony West, who I've met and I have dinner with some 20 odd years ago. Although, you know, he was in his 60s then, and he did seismographic testing on the Giza Plateau and discovered there was indeed a chamber under the Sphinx with some large, very large, rather, metal objects in it. And he mentioned this, he made it public, he made people know about it, and of course, Zawi Hawass, that is the correct pronunciation of his stupid Egyptian name, who controls the Giza Plateau, who is a fraudster, an embezzler, a fraud and a liar, immediately blocked it up, went in it himself, and had people, and has now had people cover the Sphinx in bricks to also deny the geological evidence which John Anthony West hired a proper geologist, Robert Schoch, who wrote a whole article on it, and who people in the Egyptology magazine, I think it was called, I can't remember the name, it's like KMA or AMK, something like that. It's an acronym for an Egyptian hieroglyph. You know, I read Robert Schoch's essentially scientific discussion on how the Sphinx had to be from at least 10,000 BC because of the water erosion on it. And the responses to it in the same journal were absolutely pathetic. They had no science whatsoever. They were essentially ad hominem guesses, suppositions, no science whatsoever. So I'd say that between Robert Schoch and essentially John Anthony West, who pioneered it, the so-called Hall of Records is there, but Zawi Hawass has essentially disappeared it. So, as he has done many other things. Woolly Ram says, as far as I know, the Lilith myth is from Kabbalah, so it's Gnostic Talmudic filth. Thank you, that's what I thought. There is no actual Christian or pre-Jesus Hebrew truth to it. So Titty Salad, to answer your question, Lilith, it's a feminist myth. There you go. Minnow says, what would it take to turn a Novus Order church to sede-privationist? Do you mean the building? Reconsecration by an actual Catholic priest? Do you mean the congregation? An awakening? A learning? Education? Evidence? Proof? Which is what I'm trying to do with my books, Believe and Reclaim the Catholic Church. Do you mean the actual knowingly Novus Ordo fake clerics operating in it? Probably burning at the stake. Sinner Start says, to Saving Soul Ministries, which has now been deleted. A person who reads the Bible and teaches its contents is once removed from the Bible. By your logic, they cannot be listened to as they are not in the Bible. What's a priest? That's good. Horse Mumbler says, seek out those with a little more Asperger's than usual. I am a programmer. It took ages to see that no one cares about programming. Ethan, you're not alone. You know? Oh, the guy that got banned, whatever, said some other heretic shit. I'm not even going to bother reading. Sauce and Sell Miller twice. Gamma Secret Kings for life! Titty Salad, thanks for the Lilith answer. It's Jewish from the Talmud. Okay, so the Talmud is an absolutely vile piece of shit document that says that rabbis are allowed, or Jews in general, are allowed to fuck 3-year-olds. If you rape a 3-year-old, you're not committing a crime. It's disgusting. It's evil, it's foul, it's satanic, and it is part of the synagogue of Satan, straight from the lips of our Lord. Jordan James shows a whole bunch of fire, which is kind of what I just did now. Jordan James says, all these gammas are making me want to play Minecraft. You gotta say that the gammas are kind of behaving. They're behaving. It's all right. Horse Mumbler says heresy removed. Yeah, thanks. I'm a little bit behind, as you can tell. David Perkins says, saving souls getting put down like a wormy dog made my night. I do love my immortals. Titty Salad says, intersex is a general term for a person with genitals that do not conform to what's considered the norm. Genitalia can be underdeveloped or have characteristics of both sexes. Titty Salad, just come on. On the Kurgan stream, we're brutally honest. You've seen Simon the Amputee. You've seen even your own Whitfield report admit he's a cripple. It's your turn. Are you what they call a hermaphrodite? Or did you get fake tits because you were born called John and now you want to be called Jane? We need to know these details. The Whitfield report says it's not too severe. Alternative medicine has helped. The American medical industry is mostly shit. I would agree with you there. I appreciate your sympathy and your prayers. I will do a prayer for you with the field report. I truly am sorry for your condition. It's not a nice thing. But with God, honestly, mate, I've had miracles happen by proper prayer. Again, I'm not trying to sell you a book. I don't give a shit. But get Believe, okay? It's cheap. It's only 98 pages. In there, it describes a little bit how to pray properly, because I do think it makes a difference. And, you never know. I hope it helps you. LS16 says, good hits, Horse Mumbler. Zenostart to Jordan James says, when should I throw the server up? Patience, boys, patience. Dances with Logos is laughing, but I have to admit, Dances called it. Titty Salad turned out to be a guy, looks like. We're waiting for details. Miller Twice, you should really do the E. Michael Jones diss track, someone suggested. It would be hilarious and EMJ would have no recourse. Okay, so one of the gammas suggested that if they find people to play the music and do the track and do the recording, would I do like a song, an anti-EMJ song? And I said, no, it's not my style. And the answer remains, no, it's not my style. I'm going to take E.M. Jones down eventually with pure hardcore dialectic, and the rhetoric that I use will be my choice of rhetoric, and it's not going to be some silly song that can be dismissed as, oh, this guy's a clown. No. David Perkins says, Titty Salad, I'm so sorry about your genitals. Okay. I don't know if that's genuine or taking the piss, but it's funny to me either way. Joseph Aquinas says, yeah, that's me. Welcome, sir. Now, Joseph Aquinas, correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joseph. I think he was a pretty hardcore Catholic. He came in hot and bothered about my sedeprivationism, fired a few shots at me. As you all know, my genteel Kurgan character responded in kind with then some. In other words, both barrels and a couple of sword slashes to the face. He took it like a man, posted something on his blog, and I hope that I'm correct in saying that I responded to it. I know I did respond to it originally, but apparently the comment didn't go through, didn't save on his blog, so he asked for it on email, and I hope I responded. If you're still waiting for a response from me, please tell me, and I'll try and do better. I'm really busy, and if I missed it, I'll forget. Sorry, mate. But the fact is he's now here, he's listening, which gives me an indication that he has at least questioned his own initial assumptions. And I have to salute anybody who does that. Anyone who does that, as those of you who have read my book Believe, but in this one I really go on about being able to admit that you're totally wrong. And again, I speak from personal experience. Anybody that's able to question their deeply held beliefs is somebody that deserves some respect at least. So correct me if I'm wrong in what I said. Oh, good. You reply. I did reply, and you did post it. Excellent. I thought I had, but I wasn't sure. Zenos Dart says, Jordan James says, gather the firewood. I mean, start up the servers. Woolly Ram says, odd that access to ancient Eastern relics in the hands of Mohammedans, Temple Mount, Petra, the pyramids. You know what my brother said when we went to Egypt and we went to the pyramids and we saw the stuff there and we're just walking around, and he was like, just walking around, and out of the blue, my brother's a very emotive character. He was like, they don't deserve this! They don't deserve this! We need to conquer them. They don't deserve this. They shouldn't have it here. They don't know how to look after it. They don't know what it's about. They don't deserve this. So, might make a good Catholic out of him yet, just on that basis. David Lawrenson says, if you started having a family in your mid-20s, what would like to have worked? What would you like, I guess, to have worked on with your grown-up sons and daughters at your current age? I'm not sure, and I understand there's a word missing there, so I'm not sure what you're asking. But I think you're asking, what would I like to have worked on with my grown-up sons and daughters at my current age? I don't know what you mean by worked on. I mean, I would have tried to teach them everything that I know and more, and it would be for them to do whatever they choose to do. I wouldn't impose anything on them. Horse Mumbler says, thanks, as it happens I have, and I'm also a mod over there in that crowd. Horse Mumbler, you're a mod where? I don't know. Jendur and Darsal, apparently Lilith is a name used in Armenia. Met 2 different Armenian girls with that name. Well, Armenians are pretty much of the devil as far as I'm concerned. With the only Armenian that I've met and worked with, was a fucking piece of work. Smart, but definitely not a nice guy. Horse Mamba says, the crowd that uses and develops a sort of programming language to understand differences in human personality, that is. Okay, some really... I'm kind of getting a bit worried, Horse Mumbler, that you're not into some artificial intelligence bullshit working for Elon Musk or something. Pest Gamma says, so, takeaway is gammas are pretty awesome, right? No. I don't actually think E-Scorpio is a gamma. I think it's more of a troll. I'd have to spend more time with him to figure it out. No, I don't think gammas are awesome. Joseph Aquinas says, why would they be blocking the discovery of whatever the records are? Joseph Aquinas, I suggest, if you want the answer to that question, it's not something that I can soundbite. I suggest you read my book, The Face on Mars. I suggest you read several books by Joseph Farrell, and possibly 1 or 2 books by Peter Levanda, although it'll probably keep you up nights. Well, there are plenty of reasons. But I would say The Face on Mars probably answers that question fastest, I would guess. Daniel Pereira says, first word I hear as I come in. Shit. Great start. Buonasera. Welcome. Horse Mumbler says, so Titi, if I may be so bold as to ask, could it be said that you are your own lover? That's okay. I don't know if Titi Salad is still in. She might have, it, whatever, might have just run off in pain. I'm not sure. And Daniel says, do it in the style of an Irish drinking song. I don't know what that means. Mirkwood says, can you conduct an inquisition into EMJ? Yes, but, you know, there's so many heretics and so little time, sort of thing. I'm trying, dude. You know, I've got other shit to do, too. Zenos Dart agrees. Yes, please. You guys are aware that I did a Catholic Grifters edition video, right? And that I blogged on it as well. So, you know, maybe watch that a few times over. Like, see if that holds you over until I do the next one. Horse Mumbler says EMJ Inquisition would be interesting. Well, there's some really long comments on one of my videos, I think probably in the Catholic Grifters, by a guy who has delved deeply into EMJ and discovered why he was no longer being able to work in academia. Not the details of why, but that he can't work in academia because he was fired from a pretty prestigious university for behavior of a certain type that we don't know what it was. The implication is that possibly he, you know, tried to do some funky shit with a student. Titty Salad said, oh, answering Horse Mumbler, who asked of Titty Salad, would it be so? Could it be said that you are your own lover? Titty Salad's reply is, ever since Backpage got shut down, I am, sad face. You know, I gotta give it to the trannies. They're quite funny. Probably because they gotta live with themselves. Kurgan's brother, Daniel says, Kurgan's brother can be chief of antiquities or at least involved in assigning worthy caretakers. Oh, he would do a very good job. Very good job. He would be overzealous, I would say. Continues to say, Lilith, never heard of that name outside of Lilith Fair of the 90s hoedown at Lesbo Hose. Yeah, Daniel, we know, you're Portuguese, so, you know, reading is not a strong suit for you. But, yeah, Lilith is an ancient fable created by the Pharisees to try and supplant the truth of Eve. Mirkwood says that he can bring the firewood and gasoline if he at least partially repents on the spot. I don't know which heretic we're talking about now, but, you know, burn them all, God will sort them out. Woolly Ram says, never ask a man how much he makes, a woman how much she weighs, a European what he thinks about gypsies. True fact. Although I have no problem expressing what I think about gypsies. Mirkwood says, I'm a European and I can admit that I don't want to have any business with them. I think that goes for every single European except gypsies. Horse Mumbler says, yes, the closing of Backpage was a sad day for us all. As you can see, some of my immortals are less than puritanical. And Daniel Pereira says, Taylor Marshall is a low-energy grifter, quite possibly the lowest energy. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you. And yet, I don't remember who it was. I think it might have been Henry Ford that said, no one has ever gone broke by assuming that the average American is an idiot. Or words to that effect. Don't quote me exactly on it. Hashtag says Titty Salad skip the games is still up and running. And Titty Salad says, good looking out, thanks. So what we have here, ladies and gentlemen, on the Kurgan stream today, it appears, from all the evidence we have gathered today, that we have a prostituting tranny called Titty Salad, a random number of gammas, a would-be monk, and myself. Well, it's kind of reminiscent of my whole life, really, hanging out with all sorts of freaks. So, in reference to Woolly Ram's comment about the gypsies, Daniel Pereira says, I will remember that one until the end of my days. To which Mirkwood says, I think gypsies don't want to be I'm adding a bit. Don't want to be gypsies either, but haven't a choice. That's very funny. The Whitfield report says, I can confirm that Scorpio isn't actually gamma, and nor am I. That's the point. We're satirizing the whole thing. Yeah, I got that. You know, I don't assume that everyone in the Gamma Secret Kings is actually a gamma. But a lot of them are. That like Captain Cutler or a whole bunch of lies, whatever his name is, that guy is a hardcore gamma. Horse Mumbler says, Backpage used to be a good place for getting paperless guns, which is legal in my area. Okay. Jordan James says, I bet you don't want to see Titi Salad bounce anymore, Kurgan. Well, you called that one. Miller Twice says, can you talk slower? I'm used to Ted. That's obviously a gamma, but we'll allow that. It's kind of funny. I mean, to be fair, I play Vox on 1.5 or 2 speed, 2 times speed as well. So Daniel says, it's okay to rib each other about being gammas. That's how you police the gamma behavior. Titi Salad says, my night suddenly just got very busy. I need to get some blow, escorts, and a hotel room. Bye. I gotta say, whatever Titi Salad is, whatever tranny form of blob monster whatever it may be, it's got a sense of humor, all right? So I'll give it that much. I say it because I don't know what the correct pronoun is. Well, guys, it's been mostly a stream reading out your comments, which was entertaining for me. I hope there's 45 of you. Only 4 down votes, 37 up votes, so we're doing well. And Horse Mumbler says, in reference to something else, they're talking about some techie thing. It could probably be used to develop a really effective neural network, and it's being thought about. But the guys I know are all theory and zero implementation, so not as such. Oh, I think he's answering my question about the artificial intelligence stuff that Elon Musk is pretending to be working on. Todd says, good night, Todd. Thank you, sir. And please harass me in about a week about the finishing of our project. It's just been insane. And I need to find that PDF you sent me, the cover. I know you sent it to me. I just need to dig it up again. I didn't save it when I did, and now I need to go through my emails. Woolly Ram says, good night, Kurgan. I hope your spawn lets you rest. That's unlikely, but what's the time now? Oh yeah, it's probably time for the next feeding. Sosen says, gents, ready for... Oh, the Sosen says, gets ready for evening with Titi Salad. Okay, good. Mirkwood says, thanks, Kurgan. Great stream, entertaining for sure. Thanks to the AMA, Kurgan. Oh, thanks for the AMA, Kurgan. Miller Twice. Oh, you're most welcome. I quite enjoyed it. It was a little bit tiring just because, my kids' life, etc. But it was, I enjoyed doing it. And I don't know. I think it's closed now, the AMA. But if it's not, I'll try to make sure I answer every question. I did give it a good effort to answer every question. If I missed some, my apologies. Jordan says, good night. God bless you and the family. And Awesome of the Awesome says, thank you for being a good sport. You're most welcome. Zenos says, we met our minimum quota of bannings tonight. I feel good. God bless Kurgan. Thank you for the stream. You're most welcome. God bless you all. The Whitfield report says, I did a video on Owen mocking Catholics on my channel a while ago. I'll send it to you on Reddit. All right. I'm probably not going to be hanging around Reddit a lot, but okay. Good night, Kurgan and all. God be with you. Au revoir. À toi. Okay. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you, including the Gammas, for being here. It was fun. I enjoyed it. And who knows? Maybe we've converted a couple of Gammas to see things in a slightly different way. At least I hope so. Those of you who are not proper Catholics yet, repent. Repent. And Todd says that you'll harass me like a gamma. That's the spirit, man. That's exactly what I need. to get this thing out of the way. Horse Mumbler says, thanks for your perspective, Kirkin. Interesting and informative as always. God bless. Okay, guys, you've got 40 seconds to fire any question about anything. I've just done the AMA. I'm still shell-shocked, so might as well give you another 40 seconds to ask whatever you want. Doesn't mean I'll answer it, but, go for it. While I sip the last of my Corvazier. I put quite a big dent in that one. A good example in good-natured and civil discourse. I have to say it was. The gammas, in the very vast majority of cases, except, the one person got banned and that full of lies, Captain Cutler / idiot. They weren't all, great, but they followed the rules. I've got to say I was very pleasantly surprised by that. Horse Mumbler says, what is best in life? We all know the Conan thing. But I don't really agree with the lamentations of their women. I prefer the screams of joy of their women afterwards, Oh, that's going to get me into a whole lot of trouble with marriage, consent, blah, 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 whatever. What brand? Okay, wait, that's the little girl. It's not my son. Okay, so that's mommy dealing with that. Cool. Oh, Mirkwood says, isn't it a disgrace to your nation that you don't watch or play calcio? No. Because, like most of the Dread ilk, I believe that calcio is pretty much a gay sport. I know that Vox plays it, and that he likes umbrella drinks and Italian loafers. Now, I quite like umbrella drinks myself, and Italian loafers are very comfortable. But playing football, that's just one step too far. All right, Gammas and Immortals, thank you very much. I am now going to go to bed. Thank you. Good night.